Hey everybody, it's Christina Quick, the Tarot Biz Mentor. Welcome back to our series, The Rapid Tarot for Fortune Telling. In this video, we're going to be continuing on with the minors. We're going to be talking about the swords today. And so swords is going to be the air in your tarot deck. So something along those lines, swords, air, etc. And what this kind of talks about is the realm of communications, but also conflict, right? It also talks about people's intellectual capacity, their intelligence. It talks about um, our ability to be decisive, to also search for clarity in our lives. So let's get started here. The Ace of Swords is going to be a sudden breakthrough. It could be a moment of clarity. It's kind of like an epiphany, right? Or it could be a powerful realization. Someone has figured something out for themselves. It's kind of like having one of those breakthroughs that we go through, or one of those what we call downloads, those spiritual downloads that we get. It's about truth. It can also be representing like truth is being revealed or something you've been waiting to kind of find out about. It could be a message containing information. It could be a letter, could be an email, could be a text, that sort of thing. It could also be someone's desire to kind of reach out and communicate with someone else. And it could also be, if you look at this for legal, if you're thinking about legal areas, this could be something like a decision, right? This could be like a decision, but also a victory. And it could also be something that a decisive action, like a decision has been made, sort of thing. The Two of Swords is about being mentally blocked, right? So this person's got this blindfold on. They got two swords in front of them. And first of all, this is a path of choice, right? So two's always about choices. And being caught in kind of like a stalemate between challenging or conflicting options or paths forward. It could also be differing opinions about things, right? Like they're not sure in which direction they lean towards an opinion on things. This could also represent someone feeling like they have to make a big decision, but they don't want to. So it could be like a reluctance to try to make a decision. It could also just be kind of like Four of Cups energy, where they're just like intellectually not stimulated by either option. I often see this card come up when people are talking about like, they're weighing the pros and cons between two different options. That's two different boyfriends, two different jobs, two different whatever, two different houses, whatever, and neither one of them being, all that inspiring. But basically this card represents there's a choice that has to be made, and the longer that we prolong making this decision, that it's just kind of prolonging the struggle, right? And so really getting to the bottom of, what's going to be best for right now. So the energy with this card is oftentimes making the decision that's going to benefit you the most right now is going to be the best choice, rather than trying to make a decision about long-term goals, because it's just, there's unclarity. There's no clarity around how either choice is going to benefit you. Three of Swords, heartbreak. This is one of those classic, everybody's got a tattoo of the Three of Swords. One of those classic icons in our pop culture, especially in witchy occult pop culture. But it's about heartbreak, betrayal. It's really about a deep sorrows, like pains from the past. So you're going to see this when people are going through rejection or heartbreak, or someone important to them, say, passes away or moves away or something like that. So it's always going to be, there's always some kind of separation involved, right? Like being cut off from something. It's like a hole in your heart, right? Like there's a void, there's a hole in your heart where something used to take up space. And sometimes it's difficult to kind of move forward. I remember just last 1 year ago, I lost my 17-year-old Chihuahua. I ended up she ended up passing. And for 17 years, caring for something like that every day. And when they pass, it's like losing a limb. This thing has been attached to your aura for so long physically. And it's like that with relationships too, whether it's romantic or platonic. But there's, it feels like it's one of these cards where it just feels like there's a space in your heart that used to take up something that brought you joy, and now it's just, sadness. The Four of Swords is an inaction card, so it's one of several inaction cards in the stack where no action, right? So that can be a funny idea sometimes, because I think as tarot readers, we always try to get like, okay, what is the action here? Like, what do I need to tell someone to do? Well, this is a card of telling people not to do anything, to keep your hands off the situation, right? So it's a period of rest. It could be a retreat, needing to gather oneself, especially if you see it with like Hermit or something like that, or the Hangman, where you need to go into kind of isolation and kind of remove yourself from the situation or person and just see how you feel about it. Or it could represent that someone really needs to think over, like really needs to dot their I's and cross their T's when they're thinking about if this is like something they're purchasing or some like college that they want to go to or some new career or something. This is one where I'd be like, read the fine print. Don't be in a hurry to take advantage of this opportunity. Make sure that you are giving it the time and necessary diligence that you need in order to make sure that this is a decision that's really right for you. So ultimately, this is a card where you're being called to pause and reflect, right, before making the next move. So I would really say, removing yourself, taking some time from the situation is what the action is for this card. Five of Swords. This is when you're fighting with everybody, you have different opinions, and you kind of have to maybe overzealously exert yourself over a group of people or a situation or even just a person. But it's kind of like, at what cost do you win? Because, he's kind of looking over his shoulder. These guys are crying. He's kind of smirking like, haha, I won. But, at what cost did you win? What did it cost you? What did you pay to win this battle? So it's definitely a card of conflict. And deceit. It's also a card of manipulation. So like, it's like trying to gain the upper hand, like trying to take control of the situation may not necessarily be a bad thing, right? We have to see what the context of the cards are around it just to tell like if this is a negative situation or possibly a positive situation that they just need to take the reins around it. Like if this is with, say, Chariot, then, you might want to tell them, hey, you might want to take control of this situation. But it's about really high tensions, really strong conflicts, and maybe even a little bit of deceit and outmaneuvering is happening or is necessary. The Six of Swords, always a nice one to see, especially if people are asking about a situation that they've been struggling with. This is about moving on and away from turbulent waters. So how I got to that revelation is, see right here how the waters are kind of like this. And obviously it may be just because, the motion of the boat, right? But it's kind of like moving towards something, but it's almost kind of like a bittersweet, reluctant situation that you have to move on towards, away from, excuse me. And I always think about, this is like when I think about people like leaving their homes and going somewhere else because they're forced to, or because they can't, pay the rent or whatever the situation is, or moving to like a old folks home or community living after living on your own for so long, right? It's like you're dealing with you're struggling really bad, and then you decide to give that up. You decide to whatever that is actually going to cost you. So this is also a really bittersweet kind of card. It's definitely a card of transition. Sixes are always transitionary cards, but it's about leaving behind a difficult situation, ideally for something better. It can also represent the need to escape from a situation in a kind of a quiet or under the cloak of darkness kind of situation, because they're covered up and kind of hidden, concealed. So there could be an energy of that to it. Now, the Seven of Swords is the trickster card in the whole deck. So it's about deception, secrecy. It's almost a never really a good card, but it could be good. And I'll give you an example of where this could actually be a positive card, kind of like the Six of Swords when, if you need to escape a situation but he looks like he's stealing, doesn't he? It looks like thievery. I mean, there's these tents and these guys are around the fire on the other side and, having a chat, and they're distracted, and this guy is like taking off with the swords. So this card is it's about strategic planning with like hidden motives and actions. It's definitely a card of trickery. It's about deception. Someone may be acting or telling lies. This is like the big fat liar card. It could be betrayal, but most of the times it's just hidden motives, right? So it could be like if you're starting a new business venture, I would say be wary of trickery in business. Make sure that you're vetting people in these relationships with people. And if you are the one, right, that has to kind of be sneaky or tricky, it may be just a situation that you might have to tell a little white lie to kind of get yourself out of, or you may have to bend the truth or exaggerate the truth a little bit. Right side up, I would say it's, the reversed would definitely be like 100% trickery, bad. But the Seven of Swords upright, maybe there's a good reason why he's taking off with the swords, and we'll have to look at the other cards in order to kind of determine whether that is true or not. The Eight of Swords, this is a feeling really trapped, right? Feeling like you are powerless. You're locked in your own mind. It's like a prison of self-doubt. So it's like all of these swords around this person, and obviously they're bound and they've got a blindfold. So it's like treacherous. It's almost like a feeling of treachery. Like you're unsure. Are you going to step forward and cut your foot? We don't know. But it's feeling like you've got your hand tied behind your back and it's a helplessness, right? It's that feeling of absolute mental anguish about being in a helpless situation. It could also represent, though, like just fear, doubt. It could be someone's limiting beliefs or even their abundance mindset, like preventing them from seeing the way forward, right? But it's largely like this person is feeling stuck and they're going to have to navigate themselves out of this situation as best as they possibly can with the resources that are, around them right now. And it's not going to be pleasant. It won't be easy, but we got to move forward, right? The Nine of Swords, fun fact, this was modeled after Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. And the only reason I really know that has stuck with me is because I am such a big Romeo and Juliet fan of Shakespeare's. It's my absolute favorite play. I've probably read it, no joke, 1,000 times. I know it by heart. And whenever I see this card, it's automatically Juliet, right? When she wakes up and realizes that Romeo has poisoned himself. And that's the energy behind this card. Originally, the art was inspired by Romeo and Juliet. The Pamela Coleman Smith. She is the one that took a lot of the theatrical kind of archetypes and put them into this tarot deck. So just a little fun fact there. The Nine of Swords is about anxiety, nightmares, and mental distress causing really excessive worry. So this is when our thoughts are so severely overwhelmed that we're like locked in, totally disconnected, feeling numb, feeling like we can't sleep, like we're having worries about things that may be real, maybe not real. This is about anxiety and excessive worry that is clouding our judgment, right? And so this is the ultimate card of like overthinking, where everything in this situation that we're reading about or this person, we're overthinking it. And so When this card comes up, I might ask questions similar along the lines of, how are you obsessing over this, right? Like, and how can we maybe obsess over this a little bit less, and make this less of an experience that's going to give you just pure anxiety and raise your cortisol levels and things like that. Okay, Ten of Swords. This is an ending, right? It's a painful ending. It can be betrayal. That is kind of seen with the fortune telling context of the Ten of Swords. I don't necessarily read it as betrayal, though I did want to include it just because it is kind of like a traditional meaning of this card. And I believe that that really comes more from the cartomancy when we're talking about like, clubs, diamonds, etc. But it's also a rock bottom moment, and feeling really defeated. It's like beyond just being anxious, beyond, it's like just utter and complete defeat, just utter loss of momentum, loss of motivation, loss of everything. It can be a new beginning as well, but what I say with this card is it's a period of surrender, right? And sometimes in life, there's no fixing things. Sometimes in life, you can't fix situations. You just kind of have to let it steamroll you and just get through it, right? And sometimes there's no good options. Sometimes there's no way to help a situation other than to just kind of surrender to that situation, take the beating, and learn what you've learned from it, and then move on. Page of Swords this is a really curious and eager energy. It can also be about learning the truth, right? So if you're looking for information and you're trying to figure out the truth of a situation, or your client's trying to figure out the truth of a situation, it could represent that you will be learning the truth, or they will be learning the truth. It can also be a new intellectual pursuit. So this could be like wanting to go back to college, or it could be something like um, finding new hobbies. It could also be like having something kind of like even straightforward, like having an idea for a book, or having a novel idea for something that they want to do. But it's a very curious energy. It's an explorative energy. It's something that wants to be explored, something that wants to be discovered and understood. The Knight of Swords is about swift decision making. It's also about intellectual debates, but it can also be about impulsiveness. This is like my arguing card, right? Like Five of Swords, but also this one, it's like, or reaching out. It could be like swift communications, basically, right? Directed communication. So it's not necessarily like a negative card by any stretch. If it was reversed, then yeah, obviously there's some issues here, but it's more about if you have someone that's come in and they're asking like, am I going to hear from this person, and you pull the Knight of Swords, then assuredly yes, this person is going to be reaching out to you, right? And so if you got it, say you were waiting for information, your client's waiting for information about whether they got the job or whether they got the promotion. Well, this is a card you could confidently say yes, that they will be making a decision very soon. You will be receiving information about it. This could also just be a very curious person, or someone who likes to better themselves through learning. The Queen of Swords, she kind of gets a bad rap, and we'll talk about the bad reputation that she has when we talk about the reversed version of this card. But the Queen of Swords upright, she can be, a little cold, but she's really calculating more than anything. She doesn't let her emotion overrule her logic. She makes decisions, or they, whoever you're talking about, makes decisions with their logic over their emotion. This is also someone who's extremely honest, bluntly honest, maybe even perhaps a little too honest, but someone also that has a sharp wit and also strong communication skills. It's also someone that can be, or a situation that can also be taken as abrasive, but it's not. It's like it comes from a good place. So this is about, it could also be someone offering you some kind of like counseling, right? Some kind of like guidance of some sort. It could be like honest advice. It could be having really deep intellectual conversations with someone as a love language type of thing, or better yet, I really see this as a card that says it, if you need to approach a person or a situation, approach it with logic over emotion. And finally, the King of Swords. This is about intellectual mastery. It's a leadership that comes from a decisive and strategic place. It's also a disciplined and thought out approach. So this is about being like an authority figure, making decisions on intellect and logic. This is also about taking a rational, well thought out, calculated, strategic approach, making sure to think out, because strategy is going to be the key in this situation, whatever your client is asking about. I hope you enjoyed this video. In the next video, we're going to be going through the we're not doing pentacles yet. We're going to be doing the swords reversed, and then we'll get to the pentacles. So I will see you in the next video.